Hello and welcome to All's Authors Books and Chit Chat with Aging and Amazing. Thank you for spending your precious time with us. We enjoy seeing which far-flung places our participants are zooming in from, so please write your name and where you're from in the chat box. I'm Mary Ann Shuko, a founder and manager of All's Authors, the global community of authors writing about Alzheimer's and dementia from personal experience to light the way for others. And I'm the author of Blue Hydrangeas, an Alzheimer's Love Story. I'd like to introduce some of the members of our team who are with us today. Of course, we have Christy Byrne Yates, who is the author of Building a Legacy of Love, Thriving in the Sandwich Generation. She is my podcast co-host and producer and co-moderator for this event. We also have Malika Moore, who is the founder of Aging and Amazing, which strives to support older adults, caregivers, and the networks that surround them with resources and community. And we have a couple of members of our Al's Authors team, Susan Landice, who is on our board and does all of the graphics for our social media and our website and manages the custom caregiver collections. She is also the February Books and Chit Chat author for her memoir, In Search of Rainbows. And we have Ruth Stevens, who is an acquisitions editor on our team. She reviews the fiction books that come in. And she's been on our Books and Chit Chat, I think, last year. Is that right, Ruth?
Right. Yes, that's who it was last year. I think one of the first ones.
Mm-hmm. So a little bit of housekeeping. This event is being recorded, and it will be posted to our YouTube channel. And we will also produce it for our podcast, Untangling Alzheimer's and Dementia. You can listen to the podcast on all the major podcast sites, like Apple and Spotify, and you'll find it on our website, allsauthors.com. So you can catch the replay for Ruth there as well. If you want to know when the replay becomes available, check your email. The announcement will be made in our weekly newsletter. And if you don't see it, please check your spam or email us at allsauthors@gmail.com. If we don't have you on our mailing list, you may sign up on our website. We'll watch for it on the book club channel in the Aging and Amazing community. So that's another space that you might want to check out. agingamazing.com. Is that right, Malika?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. agingamazing.com. That's important to remember. So let's get started. Our author today is Mary Crescenzo and her book, The Planet Alzheimer's Guide, 8 Ways the Arts Can Transform the Life of Your Loved One and Your Own. Mary is a recipient of the Mods Award for Innovation in Alzheimer's Care and an expert and pioneer in arts engagement for those living with Alzheimer's, dementia, and their care partners. She's also a playwright and has written Planet A about the inner world of Alzheimer's, and she's a co-host of Dementia and the Arts on Alzheimer's Speaks with Lori LeBay. She's a public speaker and educator on the subject of creativity and aging, who, in April 2024, at the 36th Alzheimer's Disease International Conference in Krakow, Poland, presented on how theater as art and public forum can foster Alzheimer's awareness. You can learn more about Mary at allsauthors.com and marycrescenzo.com. Welcome to Books and Chit Chat, Mary.
Thank you so much, Mary, and thank you all.
Thank you. We're so glad to have you here. First thing I'm going to do, like we do with all the authors, is ask you to please tell us about your own personal dementia journey. How did you get into this?
I was leaving high school, ready to go into college to study art, and I found a summer job in the newspaper, and it was at what they called a nursing home, and they wanted an art teacher. So I applied, and I found myself in a room with older adults who, at the time, when I think back, probably had dementia. And I was naive but passionate about art for everyone. And so I spent the summer doing music, painting, drawing, conversation, movement with these people. And I was amazed at how they responded. It was a wonderful experience. We laughed, we cried, we told stories. And then I moved on to a career in art and in music. And then I revisited this world as a community artist and art strategist for arts councils around the US, where I moved to different places. And I started working in a facility with a fellow artist who started a program called Drawing on Memories in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And again, working with persons with dementia, I was very drawn to older population and to how you can connect and communicate. He trained me and it was just visual art, but I then expanded it to music, movement, storytelling, etc. And although there was no one in my family with this disorder, um, I just felt this connection because it was amazing how the spark of creativity would lighten up their lives. And so they all became my family. And I still remember each and every one of the many people I worked with love and compassion.
Thank you so much. So when tell us about when you wrote the play, because that came before the book, right? What was that like?
Yes. Um, well, what happened was I would come home from my work now in New York at the time, because I had lived there and worked with various facilities. And I was still early in this career, but I would come home and I would be crying on the way home. I just was overwhelmed with the conditions I saw, the way the people were treated often, and and just the whole setting of the whole disease itself, the depth of it. So to process this, I would go home at night and write persona poems in the voices of the people that I worked with, from things I observed, from my imagination, from profound things that they would say in the middle of what sounded like to me just nonsense, to me anyway. And so this really helped me to be able to go to work the next day and to understand what this experience was. And a few years later, I decided to turn it into a play. And these persona poems became monologues. And it was a story of the inner world that I faced, not just of people speaking from staff or family, but also the main point of this was to speak from the inside out, what I thought these people would want to tell us about their lives and who they were. And so that's how the play came to be. It was at a festival in New York. And after that, I expanded it, and it still is I'm always looking for stages for it. And it's been performed in California, Colorado, Texas, and again, still looking for new places so I could share my experience with others and the awareness of dementia itself.
That sounds really fascinating. And I know Ruth, who is also with us today, she produced a play, which then became her book. So you guys have that in common. That's really interesting. But can you tell us a little bit about how the different art forms can increase engagement with people who are living with cognitive impairment? Can we just kind of go through how each one may have an impact so that people know that they can just, pick and choose amongst them, whatever they desire?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm glad that you expanded it to the term cognitive impairment because I had previously worked with people with special needs, and these techniques work with anyone. I mean, anyone can do this. You don't have to be an artist, whether you're a caregiver or you're a person with dementia. This works because, in general, first, may I say, that art is an innate, natural, human ability. And we all can do this. And if you feel reluctant that you can't, I'm going to ask you to ask yourself if someone ever told you when you were a child that you couldn't paint, sing, dance, draw, but you can't because it's in us all. So, music. Music really sparks our brain in various places, and it does evoke memory. You can think about yourself when you hear a song. And so, in singing or playing music videos or just talking about a song by starting it off, people will find themselves joining you. And of course, I pick music from the eras of these people in terms of their age. But music really sparks voice and singing. There are people who don't speak who can sing. There are people who used to play instruments, but now they don't have the instrument with them. And if you give them their instrument, often they will play. So you can begin talking about who is singing and what is this song about, and just singing together. So that's music. And you can try all of these. Visual art itself, it's nonverbal, but by just offering a marker or a washable marker or washable watercolors, and just even if helping them begin by holding their hand and stroking, not painting for them, you'll be amazed at how the paper becomes full of colors, shapes, whether you recognize them as people, persons, or things, or abstract. I've seen people sit for an hour and draw and paint and converse, start talking to each other at a table of 10. And so, again, now you can say, can you tell me about this? What would you like to call this? What's this in the corner? Open-ended questions. And again, conversation begins. One of my earliest persons that I worked with painted a face, red lipstick, blue eyes with legs, no body. And I said, who is this? She said, that's my mother. She always wore that red lipstick. So there's that form. When you have music, you can move to it. You can dance if you're not in the best, not in the best, but not in a certain physical condition where that's safe. You can sit in a chair. You can sing to the music as well. You can have scarves and hats and movement and holding hands. Again, you can talk about it. It's not passive. It's not watching music, watching dance. It's participating. Conversations arise. I like to call them creative conversations because sometimes I don't really understand what I'm being told, but I know the person is sharing with me and we're talking. Storytelling. That's another thing. You can just start with stories open a book of an art book, look at pictures, open a family album. See, what's happening here? Who's this? What is this person doing? And then stories of the past, real or imagined, start flowing. And again, you can talk about it. You can even find a museum that has Alzheimer's, dementia days, where people have a special day and time who can go with dementia. You can do the same thing, talk about the art. Even poetry. Pick a poem from a period in the era of this person's life and recite it. They may throw in the last line for the next line. Even if they don't, they're listening. It's rhythm, sound, it's rhyme. All these things, there are so many ways that you can feel comfortable if you open yourself without judgment and with fluid guidance to the person you're with and being with them in that moment, because that's all we really have is the moment. And all my clients with dementia taught me that, as well as many others.
Mm, It's really fascinating. And I like how it's simple. It's something that most people can do easily with things that they may already have in their home or are inexpensive and can be found in most stores.
Yes, craft shop or Target or
Mhm.
any store where you could find art supplies. I try to get washable supplies. You have your phone, you have a radio, you have other forms. It doesn't, and inexpensive paper. We're going to have a tip, I believe, coming up eventually about tips on how you can do all this with Al's authors. And the book gives you more details, do's and don'ts. But just look around you. It doesn't take a lot to just interact through this form of self-expression that we all deserve and we all have the ability to do.
Yes, and Mary alluded to a caregiver tip sheet that she created for us on how is it 7 ways
Seven
for you to
ways.
use the arts for engagement? So that will be coming out very soon, and it will be part of her podcast and included in the show notes. So people will be able to access it there when you'll get an email that'll tell you when this is available and you can get it there. And you'll be able to share that with people too if you can think of others that might need to benefit from some of these tips, because so many times people they just don't know what to do with their loved one, and they kind of get the misconception that the loved one can't do anything. Maybe they can't do a lot of the things that they used to do. But all of these are really easy strategies that you can try and see what you get. And it's also great to do with children if there are children in your life. Tell us about that, Mary.
Okay. Intergenerational focus has always been important to me when it comes to art. And if you have children in your life, bring them to this session. Have them paint and sing and dance too. Kids have no inhibitions about this stuff until somebody tells them that they can't. But they still don't carry it for all the years that we may. So they are open to it. And if there's a nurturing environment, they will inspire their relative with dementia, and the person with dementia will inspire them. And they're not going to ask questions about anything. They're just going to make the art. So kids really bring excitement to this. Also, if I may say, for care partners, there's another form of art that you, as well as someone with early stages of dementia, can participate in for self-care. And all of this is self-care, by the way, is the idea of creative writing. You, as a care partner, probably need, like we all do, but especially under the routines that you are faced with and the challenges, a private time to just be on your own and get the feelings out and put them somewhere. You can put them on paper and write them. And also persons with early stages can also write their thoughts down. No one has to see these. They're private, but cathartic creative aspect of it is so helpful for relaxation, respite, rejuvenation, and revelation. And those are the 4 R's that I use in my workshops to show you in different ways how that form of art can be so beneficial.
Mm. Can you explain how your book helps caregivers, whether their person is at home or in memory care or long-term care?
Good question. If you're at home and you are the only caregiver, then you can do these things in your own time when you want it scheduled. Of course, scheduling is important when it should be more towards the morning, not at sundowning, not when you're eating. Don't bring food to the table because it becomes like a reward, and that's not, and also could get in the way. So if you're at home, that's one way you can do it. If you have someone who comes into your home to work with the person you're caring for, talk with them about how this can be done. Show them, get them involved in it. It'll make their time there also more enriched than just doing those routine things. If you are visiting your loved one in a care facility, then you can do this. You can it's your family, your person, go in the room, visit them, and then take out your supplies and figure out a way to do this. If you're going to sing, then, make sure it's not disturbing others. You can also ask for the enrichment person, what do they call them now? These activity directors and now lifestyle director. What other types of things you do in the arts? Let them tell you about them. Visit and see what they're doing. They may be doing wonderful things. They may be doing busy work or passive things where they're not making a person-centered effort. You can educate them about all these things that can be done in a small group individually. So you can go, and you are one of the team members at this in care. Don't be afraid to go into this home and say, I'm going to do this with my loved one. You want to come in and see what happens? And in regard to seeing what happens, don't give up. If it doesn't seem to work, don't stress anybody out, including yourself. Redirect, pick another art, go for a little walk, try again. Keep trying, see what happens. I really like doing this on a regular basis. If not every day, at least once a week, because there is an instinctive feel of routine. And so you can do this and bring the kids, bring the family. And when you have work that you want to share, record the singing and share it with the family. Hang the artwork up on the walls. Share this, celebrate this. Art brings joy into the darkness of this disease. I've seen it for decades. And my goal has always been, and especially with the book, to share this with others.
Great. Can you just explain how the different chapters of the book how is it laid out? What do you get when you pick up the book? What are you going to find?
Okay. Well, it's going to be a guide step by step to doing these types of art, but it's more than that. I'm actually looking at it right now. And I wrote this during COVID. So in the beginning, there's a comment about dementia, Alzheimer's, and COVID itself. And then I will tell you a little bit, as I just did, how I entered this world. What is art in Alzheimer's and dementia? What is the key to make anyone being able to do this, as I also discussed? And then there are actually 8 ways listed. Painting and drawing is 1. Language, music, and movement is 2. Reciting, I'll say that. Recall, poetry, and storytelling is another chapter. Books and art and sharing, museum visits. Intergenerational, getting the family in there. Also getting the support staff involved so they understand what is happening. In New York, I actually at times had trained first the staff to actually do this experientially, so they knew how it works, and also what to expect. Because I would have people walk in and say, "Are you a volunteer? What are you doing?" And there's that, "Okay, walk away." But the more education everyone in the team has, the better. And then display and celebrate the art. And of course, caring for yourself through self-care, creative writing, or all of the arts. And then there are over 40 photographs, which shows pictures of persons with Alzheimer's and dementia making art, shows me working with them, and also shows the artwork that's done. Once your loved one starts creating art, it's like any artist. They will have a voice. You will recognize their artwork as compared to their neighbor who's painting, because it's their unique, individual message stamp coming out. And it's something you can do too. Just be open to it.
Mm. Thank you so much. It's really fascinating. Does anybody have any questions?
Is there any particular piece of artwork that moved you or inspired you or you kind of reflect upon to this day? Could you tell us some story about that maybe?
Yeah. Well, one of the first ones I mentioned with the woman drawing her mom, there was another one where a person was drawing a lamb, like crawling up a hill. And I said, "Tell me about this." And this was with markers. And she said, "Sometimes it's not easy to get where you need to be." Um, an experience that I had that always, brings tears to my eyes. is that my personal experience, because I used to be an art teacher, I went into a session and I usually don't ask people, ask the staff to tell me about the person's background right away, because I want to just come to them where they are. And then I learned that, and that helps me understand things in the drawings as well. And there was a woman who was new, and she had her head bent over, and she was furiously, feverishly painting on newspaper, one piece after the other. And I said, "Oh, tell me about this person." And she said, she was an art teacher. So I lost it. I started just crying. I was like, because I just identified. And that's something you don't do as a professional. But everybody just stood there. And this woman lifted her head, came over in her pink robe, put her hand in her pocket, and gave me a tissue. Mm. He seemed oblivious to everything, but she was. So there are so many images in the book. Even the cover itself was by an artist. And I got permission to use all of these. But, I just am so passionate about this. And it feels like yesterday that I worked with these people. And I started in the mid 90s and continued up till just till COVID.
Wow. Could you read us something from the book?
Oh, okay. Let's see. Let's find something here. Thank you for asking.
Mm.
By the way, this is the picture of it. It says sample copy. I wrote on that. But this is an artist whose style is very distinct. Let's see. Okay. We also sat at the piano with persons who played before, and they played beautifully. People who never played, who just wanted to hit the keys. I'll read the small section at the epilogue. All I can give you and share with you is what I know, that engagement through the arts, where the creative spirit takes over, and art's expressive process of making something from nothing, is bigger than I or those whom I serve. We are all given this gift of creativity from day one till our very last days, no matter who we are, where we've come from, or who we've become. You now know that you can realize that gift within yourself and with your loved one through arts and social engagement, along with these 8 ways I've shared with you, to transform both of you and your loved one's life through the power of art. Yep, that's a little thank you in the end to what this was all about.
Thank you so much. Does anybody else have an experience using art and with dementia care that they would like to share? Christine?
Mary, you were wonderful and you are wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing the journey so that we could feel it with you. I'll send you a message sometime to just introduce you to a kindred spirit that I've met. I lived close by to her, used to, and she's also written a book. And I'm just stating the obvious. There are life enrichment activity directors, we'll just string all the words together, that are thrust into that situation. I saw one person literally who was told, well, you just have to do it. You've worked here all these years. And they're like, I love serving them food. Well, you get along so well with them. So just become an activity director. Scrambling. What do I even, oh my goodness, that was like 12 years ago. So Googling was even a new word. So thank you so much for writing a book that ought to be handed to people so that they can just feel it in their heart. I was doing the right thing. when I said to them, "What do you want to do?" and noticed what others responded to if they're not able to voice it. So good job on that. I'm actually in Waco, Texas. We moved there a few months ago, moved here, and I had just had the the city magazine open to the gal who directs the creative arts for all of Waco, and I'm going to meet her personally, and it will be wonderful alongside the movies that they put on when they do like their big thrust on creative things to also they've got many stages here, and I would just be thrilled if when we interact in the future if I can introduce you to Fiona. So two people I've promised, one who's written a book whose name is Patty Sharon, and Fiona, whose last name escapes me right now, that is in charge of that. So, do you come with your play? Are you there, the creator as well?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for all of your kind words and for your interest in introducing me to these people who obviously have the concept of creative arts, as I can see you do. I go as often as I can. I try to be there for all of the performances because we do have a Q&A afterwards. And we like to bring in someone from one of the Alzheimer's dementia organizations to answer questions because people want to speak after this. It's intense, but it's inspiring and empowering as a play. And so I try to be there also, but we always have someone there. And that's how I met Trin Rose, who is also an ALS author years ago, who actually introduced me to ALS authors because she was in Colorado when the play was performed there and she reached out to me. So, yes, I tried to be there. We also have a recording of it, which we're working on editing and using in other forms. But thank you so much. Yes, I tried to be there because I realized that when it first was performed in a small black box in New York, and I was sitting in the back, and there was people weeping, and then everybody left, and I thought, I can't leave people like this. We have to talk about this. So once again, thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you both. Did anybody else have any questions, comments? Susan Landis?
Mary, I just want to say, I think you're just so passionate. I can just hear the passion in your voice when you talk about what you do. Um, I guess I'm just curious about your title, The Planet Alzheimer's Guide. How did you, it's such an interesting title. How did you arrive at that?
Good question. Thanks, Susan, for asking. When I entered these facilities, I felt like I was in a different world, a different planet, where there was a foreign language. And that was the language of the people with Alzheimer's/dementia, who may have said things that didn't seem to make sense, but then there was a profound statement. I also felt that I was entering as a visitor, not as a native, and I had to respect the rules of this planet, that the rules of the planet, let me phrase this better, the rules that the persons with cognitive decline gave me by letting me listen to them and observe them. The rules of the place may not have been as positive. I have been to wonderful facilities in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where I work. I've been in horrible facilities. And yet, I just felt that this is another world and people are afraid of it. People from the outside don't understand it, so they fear it. They have judgments about it. They're prejudiced about it. Let me introduce you to this planet. And that's how it began. Of course, so long ago, I wasn't really aware of the greater picture of dementia itself. I'm talking like the mid 90s and then in the 60s originally. Um, I might have changed the title, but I think it does still speak to all forms of cognitive decline. And so then I carried it on with the Planet A. Originally, tell you a little secret, originally, the play was called The Alzheimer's Monologues, and nobody wanted to touch it. They were like, we don't want, a play about that. And this young man who had this political social festival chose it. But then after that, I changed the title to Peace, Piece of Mind, because it was more mysterious. And then I just said, Planet A. And I'm almost ready to go back to the dementia monologue because we have to face this straight on. But that's how the title came to be. Thank you for
Cool.
asking.
Thank you. That's interesting.
Anybody else have a question? Christy?
Question, sort of a comment. I have enjoyed this so much, Mary. Thank you very much. I like other people have said, I love your passion about art and what you're doing, and it's so powerful, so powerful. One of the things you mentioned that you said you did, and I think, and this is what I want to clarify, the persona poems that you said you wrote, were those for you to process? And how might you tell somebody could you tell us more about what a persona poem does and how what impact it had on you using it?
Yes. Thank you, Christy, for asking that and for your kind words as well. I just needed a way to get this stuff out of me, get this emotion out of me. So, as a poet and a writer, I knew that a persona poem was a way to voice not only my own voice, but the voices of people who I work with. So, a persona poem is a poem in the voice of anyone, a stranger, someone alive, someone dead, someone famous, someone you cross on the street, a family member. And so you write it in their voice. I wish I had one by my side right now, or if I could even memorize one.
So what you imagine they might be thinking or feeling or saying.
Yes.
Based on your interaction with them.
Yes. What I imagine.
Wonderful. Yeah.
What I observe. And then they might say something out of the blue that in the middle of saying something that didn't seem to make sense to me. And I would sit down because it was a light and truth that came out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's in another voice in the third person, so to speak. Or actually, no, I take it back. It's not in the third person. It's in the first person. Like I would say, I'm trying to think of one of the poems from the show. I'm not good at memorizing them myself. This gentleman said, I just want to sit and have a piece of chocolate cake. I saw the for sale sign when I left. All I want to do is take that for sale sign off and go home.
Okay. Yeah. And this helped you then process the emotions you were feeling. That's a wonderful thing. It's beautiful because it feels like it helps you as the person who is caring or interacting. And then it's also, giving voice to someone who maybe isn't always understood or listened to. So that's beautiful.
And then
I really like that.
And in working with caregivers and people with early stages of dementia, this is something. I have them just write from prompts, like a word, like kitchen or hands. But then we talk about the persona poem and how you can address your feelings. And again, it was just pure necessity for me to do this. But it really is helpful. And I suggest anybody listening who would just like to do that, just do it. And it doesn't have to rhyme. Just be creative. And when you you take it out of the heart and the head, and you put it on the paper, you can reflect upon it.
Yeah.
And think about hey, I guess I'm angry and it's okay. I guess I'm confused and it's okay. I guess I'm happy about what just happened today and I shouldn't feel guilty about it. So put it
Yeah.
down.
Great. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Did anybody else have a comment or a question?
If I can just interject something, may
Please.
um, if you have a relationship with this person that you're now caring for, that maybe in the past was problematic from your point of view or from their point of view, and you think, how am I going to do this with this person? I don't even, when there are unresolved things. This is such an opportunity because this person may not remember, or they're not that person in certain senses when you had that fraught time period. If you come to them in the present as if they are this person today, a person today, and you are this person today. Sometimes, I've heard stories about people that had these terrible relationships, and now the art, they're like having so much fun and enjoying each other. You, it's harder when you go back to think about the past. I know that it's not easy not to want to do that, but a relationship can become brand new and different and maybe even wonderful in this moment.
That's beautiful. That's a great way to think about it. And I'm also thinking about how it's probably much more interesting to engage in these art activities than it is to watch TV, which we see a lot of people who have dementia spending their days parked in front of a TV set. And the
I
same
remember
can be said
that.
of young children as well,
Yes.
and get everybody involved. So thank you, Mary, for all these wonderful ideas. Before we close, is there any other questions or comments from the audience here? Susan, yes.
I am just curious, very early on in your life, was there something that compelled you or inspired you to get into the field of arts?
I've been an artist my entire life. As soon as I could talk, I was singing, drawing, dancing. It's something that um, I didn't choose. It's something that I was a gift that I was given. And I do want to say there are certain people listening might say, well, there are people who are really artistic. I'm not. Yes, there are people born with a heightened level of artistic ability, but everyone has the ability to create. And I would never say you could. I know everybody can do this. Everybody can do all these things. And I like to show them how. Um, so I've always known that art is also a comfort to you. It was a comfort to me. Um, I didn't have the best relationship with my parents. Um, I wasn't understood. I wasn't encouraged. But when you have art in you, it's got to come out. And so I became it, and I was an only child, had this world of art. And then I just kept doing it because I loved it. It made me create feelings that I was hiding. And am I answering the question? I hope so.
Yes.
And also, I would just, when I made art, I saw people laugh and be happy. I'm like, you can make somebody feel good by sharing this. So I've always wanted to share it with others. And so that's why I got into the educational world. Um, Art's not, it's helpful for yourself, but how more wonderful it is when you share it with people. Think about when you go to a concert or a play, you're all in this communal sense. Um, so it's something I've done my whole life, something I feel so natural at, something I can't stop doing, something I will never stop doing. And I just want other people to know that this can really enrich them because it's in there waiting for you. It's that creative spirit waiting to soar.
That's really beautiful. Thank you. I know just when I create my graphics and things like that, I have that same passion for creativity. And you're right, there is like an outlet to it. It helps you express yourself when words are not really there, but just the creative part. And I guess when you have dementia, that would be even more so when the words are not there to tell others how you feel. But when you can describe how you feel on paper or through art or music, it's more pronounced, I think, because it's something you feel rather than what you say.
Absolutely. And I've seen caregivers watch their loved ones who have less inhibitions because of the dementia, who are in the moment, um, just just create. They're not worried about judgment. They're not worried about anything. They're just doing it in the moment. And that frees the caregiver to know that this can happen. So, it's not when I introduce this to people, the people with dementia, they're ready to jump in. Um, it's everyone else who's like, "Oh, can they do this? Can I do this? I don't think they can do this. They never did this before." We're not talking about past, we're talking about present. See what happens.
Love
That's
that.
awesome.
Thank you so much. Where can people find your book, Mary?
You can find my book, of course, through Al's Authors. Our most amazing organization, 10-year anniversary. Congratulations to all of you and
Oh,
all the
thank you.
work you do. You can find it on Amazon. Um, and, you know, you can, by the way, if you have any questions beyond this wonderful opportunity that you've given me to share what I do, go to my website and you can email me and I will answer any question. I will be sure to answer anyone who has any questions about this whole world of art and dementia and how it works. Feel free. I'd be happy to respond to you. Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you all for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you, Mary.
I'm grateful to be a part of the family of Al's Authors.
Oh, and we're so glad to have you. What is your website address?
It's www.marycrescenzo.com, and it's Mary and then CRES as in Sam, CENZ as in zebra .com. It's like the musical term crescendo, which means to
Mhm.
louder, but it's crescenzo. So, yeah, and you can Google me. You'll find me there. Again, I'm here for you. I'm here for you because it works and it brings joy and love.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mary. We appreciate your sharing your story and your time with us.
Thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate it as well.
Okay. So, did anybody else have anything to say before we close? All right. I guess we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much, Mary, for your time. So, I do want to mention that Mary has been a guest of ours many times in the past. If you go to the allsauthors.com website and search her name, you will find her original post that she had written for All's Authors a few years back, but she's been on the podcast before. We've done a virtual event on dementia in the arts with a few other people, and Mary participated in that. She also did a program with her friend Trin Rose Seeley that she mentioned earlier. So all of that stuff is on our website. We do have a number of other people using arts. So if that's something that you really want to explore, we've got a lot of resources on that. And I just want to thank everybody for attending Aging and Amazing's Books and Chit Chat with us authors. We'd love to see you at our next book discussion on Tuesday, February 25th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, when we meet Susan Landice to discuss her book In Search of Rainbows. That's her memoir of caring for her mother with Alzheimer's disease after a lifetime of a fractured relationship. Susan is a member of our management team, serving as graphic design editor for our social media and website, and as a manager of our custom caregiver collections project. You can learn more about her and register for the event in the Books and Chit Chat channel in the Aging and Amazing community, or by visiting allsauthors.com. We're also presenting a virtual panel discussion on the long haul, the impact of long-term dementia caregiving on February 18th at 2 p.m. Eastern via Zoom. You can register for this event on our website, allsauthors.com. And we're going to be talking with people who have been caregiving for more than 10 years. I also invite you to be among the first to know everything new at All's Authors as a subscriber to our weekly newsletter. Sign up at allsauthors.com, then check your inbox each week for our news, introducing the latest author, podcast, special events, and more. And be sure to visit our blog, podcast, and shop at allsauthors.com to find more resources for your dementia journey. We've got some lovely gifts for caregivers, including our books and our poetry anthology, as well as some branded clothing and accessories to show your support for us. You can also follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn, where we share a wealth of resources for the dementia journey. Remember, you are not alone. One can sing a lonely song, but we chose to form a choir and create harmony. Thank you so much for being here. Hi, Chuck. Welcome to the All Authors Untangling Alzheimer's and Dementia podcast. How are you today?
Doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. We want to make sure our listeners are aware of your upcoming conference, Exposed Dementia, which will be March 28th to 30th in Linthicum, Maryland.
Yes.
Is that right? Can you tell us a little bit more about it? What can people expect if they attend the conference?
Sure. The Exposed Dementia Conference, we are super excited about it. As you mentioned, it's going to be March 28th through the 30th. It's an art-based, media-based conference. So all things art and media, which will include an art exhibit. It's going to include a comedy show. It's going to include a film festival. And then it's also going to include sessions that deal with all aspects of music therapy, dance therapy, art therapy, Lego therapy. We're going to talk about writing books. We're going to talk about so many things as used to be able to use as tools to impact the dementia community, those living with dementia, as well as caregivers. So we're super excited about bringing all of those things to the table in one place over the course of this time, just to really move the needle forward and making a difference.
Oh, that sounds terrific. I'm a big advocate for using the arts in dementia care because I know people have gotten incredible results. And we talk about a lot about that on our podcast if people want to tune into different episodes. But who are some of the people that you have that are going to speaking or conducting workshops at the conference?
Yes, we have Loretta Vini, who
Mhm.
is well known as the Lego Lady.
Yeah.
Everyone calls her that. She's going to be doing a session and demonstration. We also have Kendra Ray, who is a music therapist. Natasha Goldstein, who is going to be there, is a dance therapist. Erica Curcio, who's an art therapist. We have just so many amazing people. Magna Kamarska. I'm hoping I'm
Mhm.
saying it right. Please forgive me if it's wrong, Magda. She's going to be there as well. She's a dance artist and researcher, so she'll be doing moderating a panel. And then we have so many others. We're going to be doing sessions on research and sessions on dementia around the world. We have people
Mhm.
coming in from London. We're going to have someone from South Africa, someone from the Caribbean, talking about how dementia is impacting their areas as well.
Mhm.
So it's not limited to what we're going through here in the United States, but it's impacting the entire world. So we wanted to include that aspect as well. And then we have Sam Simon come in. He's going to be doing a portion of his one-man show, The Dementia Man.
Mhm.
Um, we're going to be showing my documentary, Remember Me, Dementia in the African American Community. So
Mhm.
it's a good cross section of experiences and people who are really coming to have an impact and really make a difference and let people know how important storytelling is in today's life.
That sounds wonderful. It's just kind of like right up our alley at All's Authors. That's kind of a lot about what we do is story, the value of storytelling and caregiving.
Yeah.
Sharing our stories makes us stronger.
And we
And
will be featuring authors as well.
yeah.
And then we'll be doing an author fireside chat. We haven't finalized that particular chat yet, but we will be doing that. That's our way of making sure authors are really incorporated and highlighted in sharing the importance of the work that we do as writers as well. So it's going to be just an amazing time. We really want people to come out and support, to learn, encourage other people, really connect with others who are doing the work, but then also letting people like the caregivers, especially new caregivers, know that hey, you can do this. You're not alone. There is support, and here we are.
Mm, sounds terrific. And why are you doing this? What is your why?
My why started with my family. My family has been impacted by dementia. I probably lost 6 or 7 family members from some form of dementia. Most of them we didn't know exactly what type. We just knew dementia. And then currently, I have 3 family members living with dementia.
Mm.
And so it hit my family hard, and that's how it pulled me in. Like most people who are active, it's been some personal journey, and then from there it expanded because I realized how badly it's hitting us as a country, hitting us as a community, and so I wanted to do more, and I wanted to pull from my background, my experiences in the arts, in media, in entertainment to be able to help, and so that's what we did. We formed Exposed Dementia Incorporated, the organization, to be able to really rally people together and then figure out different ways to present this information because especially in the African American community, it's still a taboo topic. And so I know in other communities it's talked about a little bit more, but there's still work to be done. And so we just want to be able to do our part.
It sounds terrific. Where can people learn more about the conference and register?
Yes, you can go to www.exposeddementia.org. That's our website, and there's a conference page on there where you'll get a chance to see some of the things that will be there. You can hit the registration button right on the website. You can also become a sponsor. Information is there as well. So anything you need is there. But if you have questions, you can reach out to us through the email, the website as well.
Awesome. And do you have any social media? Are you posting stuff out there?
Yeah, so everything is under exposed dementia or exposing dementia because in a couple of cases it wouldn't allow us to do exposed dementia. So on Instagram, it's exposing dementia. We also are building a YouTube page, which is going to be YouTube/exposed dementia. So we're going to have different clips from the conference on the YouTube page after the
Okay.
conference as well. Since a lot of people have asked if it was going to be streamed or anything like that, it won't be, but we're planning to add, different portions to the YouTube page afterwards.
Okay. So I guess people who are interested should sign up or follow you so that they can get the information whether or not they can attend in person or not.
Yes, and I look forward to it.
Okay. I look forward to it too. I wish you the best of luck on this important conference.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
Thank you.